Back on CBS Sports HQ, I'm Haley Sutton. The college football season is moving right along already as we've made it to the halfway point of the season already. And for many teams, it's all about elimination and how to avoid it if they're going to get into that expanded college football playoff. Our Emory Hunt likes to flirt with chaos a little bit. So this is his doomsday college football bracket scenarios. This is sort of what could happen with some of those teams on the outside looking in. A couple of controversial notes here you'll see on this bracket from Emory Hunt. No Ohio State on this list, no Alabama. Instead, the SEC represented by just two teams on here, Texas and Tennessee, the two orange teams holding it down. The Buffs get a bye. This is truly a doomsday situation. So let's bring in our agent of chaos, Emory Hunt. Emory, I know that you always like to do things a little bit differently here, but this is going to be fun. So let's dive into some of those scenarios. We're going to start with the SEC because I'm going to borrow a phrase from our good friend Chip Patterson. Heaven forbid we don't have more than two SEC teams in this doomsday college football bracket. Why just the two for the SEC?
Well, I'm glad Chip said that because this is what I wanted. Because when you look at the SEC, the reason why I have Texas and Tennessee, I trust the consistency of their defense and their offense week to week. I know this is coming off a bad week offensively for Texas, but for the most part, they've been pretty consistent. And also, you look at Georgia, LSU, Bama, they're going to cannibalize themselves. LSU and Alabama most particularly because they are not consistent on either side of the ball, so they're going to cancel each other out. Georgia, by way of them losing again down the line, I think they take a loss here to Tennessee, not to Tennessee, but they'll take another loss down the line. So for me, it's like, hey, Georgia will lose to, we'll see Texas, we'll see Tennessee, and I think that's how we're going to get these guys in.
Yeah, Tennessee, of course, just got that big win again over Alabama. Alabama does have a big test this weekend as they welcome in Mizzou to Saban Field, so that'll be interesting. Just the rest of the SEC in general, only getting two bids. That is certainly a doomsday scenario for people in the South. If we move over and talk about the Big 12, one of the hotter takes on this bracket, Emory, was the Colorado Buffs getting into the expanded college football playoffs. I know you are someone who has been, pretty confident in Colorado this year. What have you seen out of them that makes you believe that they will be one of those last 12 teams standing?
All right, follow me here, Haley, with this one, because this is what's going to have to happen. All right, Colorado, number one, I've said this before and I'll say it again. They have the clear-cut number one quarterback in the NFL draft in Shedeur Sanders, arguably the Heisman Trophy winner in Travis Hunter. And when you look at what they've done well this year, they're playing defense. So they're much better on that side of the football. They've now acknowledged that running football is beneficial. So we've seen a little bit more balance for Colorado's sake, for sake of balance, for them this season offensively. Now, in order for them to get to this particular spot in this bracket and get this bye, a couple of things have to happen because they don't play Iowa State, nor do they play BYU. So Iowa State would have to lose two games, trip up twice, which is possible. They've been flirting with that loss pretty much. They like Kid Icarus flying too close to the sun. They've been flirting with that loss. They trip up twice, but they beat Kansas State in the last game of the season. That will put Colorado ahead of Kansas State, and BYU can get there. And then Colorado obviously beats BYU. That's why you see BYU in the bracket and not Iowa State nor Kansas State.
Colorado has a 1.5% chance of winning the Big 12, according to Sportsline, about a 5% chance of winning out, too. So we'll have to see how that all unfolds as well. Wild stuff in this doomsday scenarios here. If we go over to the Big 10, Emory, we saw a potential conference championship preview a couple weeks ago between Oregon, Ohio State. We know the Ducks got the best of that one. But when it comes to the rest of the schedule for Ohio State, that potentially leaves the door open for them to have 3, maybe even 4 losses throughout the rest of the season, with Penn State, Michigan, as well as Indiana lurking in there as well. Is there a world, Emory, that we see the best roster in college football not make the college football playoff?
The best roster doesn't always mean the best team. And in college football, you're still dealing with 18 to 35-year-olds, with all these dudes that saying those extra years. But you're still dealing with 18 to 23-year-olds, right? And so with this particular scenario, Ohio State would have to lose to Indiana and trip up against Michigan in their rivalry game. But in between that, they beat Penn State. This is all plausible based on what we've seen from teams versus their rival. We just saw a team lose twice last night. And, Kennesaw State beat Liberty. They lost twice in that ball game. Lost, had to put a second back on the clock, and lost again. So they should have counted twice for Kennesaw State. But we've seen rivalry games kind of trip up teams before, in particular Ohio State, when they've been gunning for a national title playoff scenario. So this is plausible, but it would also be a nod to Indiana, the job they've done this season in knocking off Ohio State.
Yeah, we saw on your bracket there, Indiana was the team to win the Big Ten in this scenario. Emory, let me ask you this. When it comes to Ryan Day, if this doomsday scenario does come true for Ohio State and they miss the college football playoff again, you're laughing, but it's the reality here for Ryan Day. He doesn't win the big games. That's what everybody always says. So what does that say about his future if they do not get into this expanded playoff?
Oh, man, and if they don't get in and Penn State does, oh, my goodness, that's complete doomsday. Blow it all up and move Ohio State to Burbank somewhere. But I feel like it won't matter. They'll use this, hey, man, it's just been a crazy year. We got to get this thing rolling. Ohio State knows what they have in Ryan Day, and they're not going to be foolish to get rid of a coach that just finds ways to not only get guys in, but develop these guys who are their elite talents and go out there and win. So this is someone that will get the job done. They won't move off of him, even in this doomsday scenario.
We'll have to wait and see. A lot of big games Ryan Day has lost, so we'll have to see how that doomsday scenario unfolds. We do know this. A lot of folks, specifically folks here at CBS Sports, have really enjoyed SMU this season. We had a lot of people pick them early in the season as well to sort of make a statement in the ACC this year, and now you're taking it a step further. You have them making it to the ACC tournament, or the ACC championship game, I should say, and then beating Clemson to win the ACC, which means Miami, Pitt, those teams right now that are all kind of up there in terms of the championship there, something happens with that. Why SMU in this scenario making it out of the ACC?
One, they don't face Miami in the regular season, although I would pay money to see SMU take on Miami, because I said this in August, where you have, the Bag Bowl. Both of these teams known for their money, right? I want to see that play out on the field. But with SMU, they don't play at Miami, and how this could play out for SMU, they have a great quarterback in Jennings out there. Since he's been able to take over the quarterback position, they've been able to win consistently, be balanced on offense, and that defense has really been good. So Miami would lose to Syracuse, and SMU would beat Clemson in the title game, thus putting all three in. And here's the reason why I love this particular doomsday scenario, because you're going to get 3 ACC teams in and only 2 SEC teams. And that's why I want to see the chaos, because Miami's going to get in because they may have the Heisman Trophy winner. Clemson has been on a roll, and SMU would have won the conference. So therefore, you look at where these teams would be ranked if they keep on winning. It'll be hard-pressed to keep 3 of the top-tier ACC programs out in a year where everyone thought all these SEC teams would be in.
I just know that the Florida State fans right now are just punching air with you saying ACC going to have 3 teams over the SEC, when last year we saw what happened with the ACC and the SEC. Crazy stuff. What's up?
I have one more scenario that people are not talking about.
Bring it.
What is Washington State? Are they a group of 5 or they're Power 5 or Power 4? Because if they finish 11-1, what do? Do you leave out an 11-1 Power 4 team in Washington State? And what if Vandy goes out there and beats Texas and then beats Tennessee at the end of the season? Are we ready for Vanderbilt SEC champions in the postseason with the bye? I'm just saying.
No, Emory, we're not ready. No one is ready for that scenario with Vandy winning the SEC. That is true doomsday for all of the powerhouses in the Southeastern Conference. Nonetheless, Emory, I feel more prepared now. I feel like I need to go get a bunker now with doomsday approaching. I'm ready to go because I've got all the ingredients. Emory Hunt joining us to break down those college football playoff, the expanded bracket coming up at the end of the season. Coming up this weekend, we've got the #1 Oregon Ducks on CBS. Well, they'll face off with number 20 Illinois, kicking off at 3:30 Eastern right here on CBS. We also will have the Big Ten on CBS pregame show on Saturday with an awesome crew of college football analysts. You can join me and our guys at 3 o'clock Eastern, streaming on Paramount+.